Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss the new stories we share. Let's begin. The coins hit the marble counter like tiny accusations. Quarters, dimes, nickels, a few pennies. They scattered across the polished surface of the hostess stand at La Maison Rouge, and the silence that followed was the kind that makes your skin crawl. I watched from my table, fork frozen halfway to my mouth, as a young woman no older than 22 stood there with her chin raised. Defiant, but her hands were shaking. My name is Marcus Webb. I'm 63 years old, and I built a commercial real estate empire worth $400 million from absolutely nothing. I've dined in this restaurant in downtown Chicago more times than I can count. I've seen celebrities, politicians, business moguls, but I had never seen anything quite like this. "Ma'am," the hostess said, her voice dripping with that particular brand of condescension that expensive places seem to breed. This isn't how we typically handle payment here." The young woman's jaw tightened. "It's money, isn't it? Last I checked, coins are legal tender in the United States of America." She had dark hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. Her clothes were clean but worn. A simple white blouse, slightly too big for her frame. Dark pants that had seen better days. And she stood there surrounded by women in designer dresses and men in Italian suits, counting out coins like her life depended on it. Because maybe it did. I set my fork down. Something about her was pulling at me, something I couldn't name yet. "I had a salad and water," she continued, her voice steady despite the trembling in her fingers. "The bill was $14.87. I have $15.23 here. That's a 36-cent tip. I know it's not much, but it's what I have." The hostess exchanged a glance with the manager, a thin man named Gerald who had been hovering nearby like a vulture. "Perhaps," Gerald said, stepping forward with a tight smile, "we should discuss this somewhere more private." "Why?" the young woman asked. "So you can humiliate me without witnesses." I found myself pushing back my chair, but then she moved her arm, just slightly, reaching to gather more coins from her purse. And that's when I saw it. A bracelet, thin silver chain, a small charm shaped like a hummingbird. The world stopped. My chest seized so violently I thought I was having a heart attack. I gripped the edge of my table, knuckles going white, because I knew that bracelet. I knew it like I knew my own heartbeat. I had bought it 31 years ago from a small jewelry shop in Springfield, Illinois. I had clasped it around the wrist of the only woman I had ever truly loved. Caroline, who had disappeared from my life without a word. Caroline, who I had searched for across 3 decades. Caroline, who I had never stopped loving, not for a single day. The young woman at the counter couldn't possibly be her. She was far too young, but that bracelet, that specific bracelet with that specific charm. I had watched Caroline's eyes light up when she saw it. "A hummingbird," she had whispered, "because they never stop moving, just like my heart when I'm with you." I stood up. My legs felt like they belonged to someone else. The restaurant continued its quiet symphony of clinking glasses and murmured conversations, but I heard none of it. Gerald was still speaking to the young woman. "I'm going to have to ask you to step outside, ma'am. You're disturbing our other guests." The young woman's face flushed with shame. I watched her swallow hard, fighting back tears she was too proud to let fall. "I'm not disturbing anyone," she said quietly. "I'm just trying to pay for my meal." "With coins," Gerald sneered. "Like a homeless person." Something broke inside me at those words, something that had been building for a very long time. I crossed the restaurant in 5 strides. My $2,000 shoes clicked against the marble floor. Heads turned. Whispers followed. Marcus Webb didn't make scenes. Marcus Webb was known for his calm, his composure, his measured approach to everything. But Marcus Webb had just seen a ghost. "Is there a problem here?" I asked, positioning myself beside the young woman. Gerald's expression transformed instantly. The sneer melted into an obsequious smile. "Mr. Webb, of course not. Just a small matter with payment, nothing for you to concern yourself with." "It concerns me," I said. "This young woman's money is good. Count it and give her a receipt." Gerald hesitated. "Sir, it's coins. It's going to take some time to." "Then you'd better start counting." My voice left no room for argument. Gerald's mouth opened, then closed. He began counting the coins with stiff, angry movements. The young woman was staring at me. Up close, I could see the dark circles under her eyes, the hollow in her cheeks. The way her collarbones pressed against her skin. She was exhausted, she was hungry, and she had ordered a salad and water at one of Chicago's most expensive restaurants. "Why did you do that?" she asked me. "You don't know me." I couldn't take my eyes off the bracelet. "That's a beautiful piece of jewelry," I said carefully. "Where did you get it?" Her hand moved instinctively to cover it, protective, defensive. It was my mother's. My heart stopped again. Your mother's? She passed away 6 months ago, cancer. The words hit me like a physical blow. Caroline, dead, gone. I had spent 31 years searching for her, and she had been out there somewhere, living a life, raising a daughter, and now she was gone. I'm sorry, I managed. I'm so sorry. You didn't know her. No, I wanted to say, you're wrong. I knew her better than I've ever known anyone. Gerald finished counting with exaggerated disgust. $15.23, he announced. Exactly as she said. Give her a receipt, I said, and apologize. Gerald's face reddened. Mr. Webb, I really don't think. Apologize. The word came out like a whip crack. Gerald looked at the young woman. I apologize for any inconvenience, ma'am. It was hollow, meaningless. But she nodded and took her receipt with trembling hands. She turned to leave. I couldn't let her walk out of my life, not without knowing. Wait, I said. Please let me buy you dinner. She stopped, turned. Her eyes were suspicious now. Why? Because you just paid for a salad with every cent you had, and I'm guessing you haven't had a real meal in days. Her silence confirmed it. I don't take charity from strangers, she said. Then don't think of it as charity. Think of it as an old man who's tired of eating alone. She studied me for a long moment. Something in her expression softened slightly. One meal, she said finally. And then I leave. I nodded. One meal. I led her to my table, pulled out her chair. She sat down like someone who had forgotten what it felt like to be treated with dignity. What's your name? I asked. She hesitated. Emma Sullivan. Sullivan, not my last name. Caroline had married someone else. Of course she had. I pushed the thought aside. I'm Marcus, I said. Marcus Webb. Emma ordered the cheapest thing on the menu, a bowl of soup. I ordered her a full meal. Steak, vegetables, bread. I told you I don't want charity, she said, but there was no real fight left in her voice. And I told you I'm tired of eating alone. You're doing me a favor. She almost smiled, almost. You're a strange man, Marcus Webb. I've been called worse. The food arrived. I watched her eat, trying not to be obvious about it. She was starving. Genuinely, desperately starving. She tried to eat slowly to maintain some dignity, but her body betrayed her. Her hands shook with each bite. Her eyes kept darting to the bread basket like it might disappear. Your mother, I said carefully. What was her name? Emma paused mid-bite. Caroline Sullivan. Well, Caroline Matthews before she married my father. Matthews, Caroline Matthews. I remembered the first time I heard that name. I was 29 years old, hungry and broke, living in a studio apartment in the South Side. I was working 18-hour days trying to build something from nothing, and then she walked into my life. She was a secretary at a law firm downtown, beautiful in a way that seemed accidental, like she didn't know the effect she had on people. We met at a diner, both of us ordering the cheapest thing on the menu. We talked for 4 hours. By the end of that first conversation, I knew I was going to love her. And I did. For 2 years, I loved her completely. I told her everything, my dreams, my fears, my plans to build an empire. She believed in me when no one else did. She held me when I failed. She celebrated with me when I succeeded. I was going to propose. I had the ring. I had the speech rehearsed. I was going to ask her on her birthday, but she disappeared 3 days before. No note, no explanation, just gone. I searched everywhere, hired investigators, called everyone she knew, nothing. It was like she had never existed at all. My mother never talked about her past, Emma said, pulling me back to the present. Before she married my dad, it was like her life started the day they met. I felt something twist in my chest. Some people carry things they can't talk about. I guess. She touched the bracelet again. She made me promise to never take this off. Even when we couldn't afford groceries, she refused to pawn it. She said it reminded her of someone she loved. My eyes stung. I looked away, pretended to study the wine list, but my mind was racing. Caroline had kept the bracelet. All those years, through a marriage, through raising a daughter, through poverty and struggle. She had kept it because it reminded her of someone she loved. Did she mean me? What happened to your father? I asked. Emma's face darkened. He left when I was 12, just packed a bag and walked out. Mom worked 3 jobs to keep us fed, destroyed her health, and when she got sick, she stopped, took a breath. There was no money for treatment. We tried everything. Fundraisers, loans, selling everything we owned, but it wasn't enough. It's never enough. Her voice cracked on the last word. I reached across the table, placed my hand over hers. I'm sorry, Emma, I'm so sorry. She looked at our hands, then at me. Why do you care? You don't even know me. I wanted to tell her the truth. I wanted to say, I think your mother was the love of my life. I think she ran away from me for reasons I'll never understand. I think I've spent 31 years mourning a ghost. But the words wouldn't come, not yet. Everyone deserves someone who cares, I said instead. Even strangers. We talked for 3 hours, the restaurant emptied around us. Gerald cast increasingly hostile glances our way. I ignored him. For the first time in years, I felt something other than the hollow ache of loneliness. Emma told me about her life, growing up in Decatur, Illinois. The small apartment she shared with her mother. The dreams she had of becoming a nurse. Dreams that had been crushed by medical bills and funeral expenses. I moved to Chicago 3 months ago, she said. Mom always talked about this city, said she had happy memories here. I thought maybe I could find work, start over. And did you find work? She shrugged. Temp jobs mostly, nothing steady. I've been staying at a shelter when there's room, otherwise. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Why this restaurant? I asked. If money was so tight, why spend it here? Emma was quiet for a long moment. It was Mom's birthday today, she said finally. She would have been 52. She used to dream about places like this. Fancy restaurants with white tablecloths. She never got to experience any of it, so I thought I'd come here, order something small, pretend she was with me. Her voice broke, tears spilled down her cheeks. She wiped them away quickly, embarrassed. Sorry, she mumbled. I don't usually. Don't apologize, I said. Never apologize for missing someone you love. I thought about all the nights I had spent missing Caroline, the dreams where she came back, the moments I thought I saw her on the street, the birthdays, holidays, anniversaries that I marked alone, wondering where she was, wondering why she left. Emma, I said slowly, did your mother ever mention anyone from before your father? She looked at me curiously. Not really, why? Just wondering, but my mind was spinning. I needed to know more. I needed to understand why Caroline had left. There was one thing, Emma said suddenly. In the hospital near the end, Mom wasn't making a lot of sense, the medication, you know, but she kept saying a name over and over. My heart stopped. What name? Emma's brow furrowed. Marcus. She kept saying she was sorry, that she never stopped loving Marcus. I asked her who he was, but she just cried. The world tilted. I gripped the table to steady myself. Caroline, at the end of her life, thinking of me. Saying she was sorry, saying she never stopped loving me. 31 years of silence, 31 years of wondering, and now this. Emma, I said, and my voice was barely a whisper. I need to tell you something. She waited. I knew your mother a long time ago, before you were born. Her eyes widened. What? I'm Marcus, the Marcus she was talking about. Emma stared at me. I could see her processing it, the shock, the confusion, the disbelief. That's impossible, she said. How would you? The bracelet, I said. I bought it for her 31 years ago, a hummingbird, because they never stopped moving, just like her heart when she was with me. Emma's hand flew to the bracelet. Her face had gone pale. You're lying. I'm not. I loved your mother, Emma. I was going to marry her, and then she disappeared. Tears were streaming down my face now. I didn't try to hide them. I've spent 3 decades looking for her, and now I find out she's gone, and you're here with that bracelet on her birthday. Emma was crying too. Why did she leave you? If she loved you, why did she go? I don't know, I admitted. I never knew, but I think she had her reasons. Emma told me about the letters. She found them after Caroline died. A box hidden in the back of the closet, letters that were never sent, all addressed to me. Decades worth of words that never reached me. We went to her shelter that night. She retrieved the box. We sat together in my penthouse apartment overlooking Lake Michigan. And I read them, every single one, through tears that wouldn't stop, through a grief I thought would drown me. Caroline had discovered she was pregnant. 2 days before I planned to propose, she was terrified, not of motherhood, but of what it would do to my dreams. I was just starting to build something. I was barely surviving. A baby would have derailed everything. At least that's what she believed, so she left. She sacrificed her own happiness to give me a chance at success. She married a man she didn't love, raised a daughter on her own after he abandoned them, worked herself into an early grave, all because she thought she was saving me. She was so wrong, I whispered, holding the final letter. I would have chosen her every single time. I would have chosen her. Emma was sitting beside me, her mother's daughter, with Caroline's eyes and Caroline's stubborn chin. She never stopped hoping, Emma said softly, that you'd find her, that somehow you'd find your way back to each other. But we never did, not in this life. I looked at Emma, this stranger who was not a stranger, this daughter of the woman I had loved. You're not going back to that shelter, I said. Marcus, I can't. You're Caroline's daughter, you're practically family, and I have more money than I could ever spend alone. Let me help you, not as charity, as what I owe your mother for all the years I couldn't be there for her. Emma was crying again, but she was nodding too. I don't know what to say. Say you'll let me be there for you, the way I should have been there for her. She took my hand, squeezed it. Okay, she whispered. We sat in silence, watching the sun rise over the lake. I thought about all the years I had wasted, the emptiness that had defined my existence, the success that meant nothing without someone to share it, and I thought about Caroline, the woman who loved me enough to let me go, the woman who carried that love until her final breath. She was gone. I couldn't change that. But her daughter was here, and maybe, just maybe, this was the second chance I never thought I'd get. Not to rewrite the past, but to honor it, to take the love that Caroline and I never got to live and give it a future. Emma enrolled in nursing school that fall. I paid for everything. She fought me at first, but I reminded her that stubbornness was genetic. She didn't stand a chance. On the anniversary of Caroline's death, we went to the cemetery in Decatur together. I knelt at her grave, told her everything I never got to say, the proposal I never gave, the life we never had, the love that never died. Emma placed a single flower beside the headstone, a hummingbird charm from a bracelet she no longer needed to cling to, because she knew now. She knew that some loves are bigger than time, some connections outlast separation, silence, and even death. And sometimes, when you least expect it, the universe gives you exactly what you need, not what you lost. But something new, something that honors what came before while creating what comes next. I walked away from that cemetery with Caroline's daughter by my side. The love of my life was gone, but her legacy lived on, and so, finally, did my heart. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and visit the channel for more real-life stories.